Hey guys, trainer and coach Josh, and I've got a message to talk about, and it pertains to motivation. This week in my coaching group, the question was posed by one of my clients: how do I find motivation? I'm not motivated. And what came to mind is a story that was shared with me from a friend of mine named Brian Johnson. And the metaphor that he used was a very powerful metaphor, and I'm going to do my best to share it here. So imagine that we've got two big skyscrapers. Let's say, not necessarily skyscrapers, but say they're 10 stories off the ground. Got two buildings close to each other, and I put a 2x4, a very long 2x4, a plank, across those two buildings and encourage you to walk across it. Well, the likelihood of you doing so is very, very low because there's no reason to risk falling off that 2x4, to risk the pain associated with that fall, because on the other side there's no real reward benefit. Now, let's change that scenario. Let's add some motivation. So, same scenario, two buildings. We place the plank across those two buildings. Now the scenario has changed a little bit. The building across the way is on fire. And inside that building is a loved one, a child, a spouse, mom, dad, something of that nature. Now, your motivation for getting across that board and saving your loved one, that has given you a reason, a very, very big reason, to risk the discomfort, to risk the possible pain of falling off that plank. So when we're talking about motivation, if we don't have a big enough reason, we got to find a big enough reason. We got to create a reason story in our minds about what's happening in our life and where am I headed if I continue with this habit and behavior, if I continue with this neglect. What is the burning building across the way that's going to lead to catastrophe if I don't take action? So we've got to keep that in our top mind awareness. So when we neglect our physical practices, when we neglect our nutrition practices, that is a burning building, and we may not for years have to deal with the consequences of that neglect. But when we do, it'll be catastrophic. So get clear in your mind. Where are you headed? Where are your habits and behaviors leading you? And if you need motivation, fast forward the clock. 3, 5, 6 years. And what's the result if you keep continuing that habit and behavior? Keep continuing the neglect. Keep continuing the excuses. There you'll find your motivation. Take care.